What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Powerlifter Garage. I know it's been probably a good year since I've done a video. Just wanted to give you guys a quick rundown of what's going on. So as you can tell from the background, I'm no longer in my normal garage because we bought this one. So a lot more space, a lot more room for activities. So we got the Maverick still, which is over here. He's still chilling. But right where my finger is, right there, is the SR20. So in the upcoming videos, we're going to be pulling the 289 out of this guy and taking that guy, mating him back to his transmission, sticking him in here and making some mounts. Yeah, so I'm going to have an SR20 powered Maverick. But in the meantime, I got lights in here. It's taking a while. My goal today is to hook up the furnace, and I have receptacles over there, and I got a new electrical panel put in. So what I will do is when I get rolling here and start getting wires put in place, I will show you when I go to hook it up in the panel. It's not overly difficult. You just gotta be careful what you do. Don't lick your fingers and put them in the electrical box because you will get shocked. Just saying. Alright, let's get to it. Alright, quick disclaimer. I'm not an electrician. But I'm going to show you how to do a light switch. So, this is the feed coming from the breaker box. This is going out to, well, in this case, my furnace. So, you have black, white, and the ground, which is just the copper one. So what we always do is you take the two grounds. They're hard to see here. You take these guys, and what I've always done is cut a little short here. Cutters. So you cut this guy back, cut this guy back, and you can buy this little, oh, where's the camera at here? Little brass coupler looking thing. Now what I do is I take another piece of copper and you put these guys together and you slide this guy in here like so. Like that. It's kind of hard to see probably. And then you slide this piece in. And then crimp this copper piece down with your pliers. And then once you get those three together, you grab a hold of the ends with the pliers and you twist and you twist. Twist. And what this does is it intertwines them inside of that brass piece, so then that piece can't pull out. I always flip that around. So now my grounds are done. Like I said, kind of hard to see, but you can see that it's smashed in here, and then you wrap all the grounds around each other. All right. Get your back here. Now, I always take these, and I'll cut these little ends off here so they don't stick out. You take this assembly, shove it back into the box. Now, this guy's a little too long, you cut him off, and if you have these Klein pliers, there's holes right here and right here. So if you put the wire through the hole like that, you actually take your pliers and you spin them around, and what that does is it creates a little hook. So on a light switch, that's off. So this is a light switch that's off. Over here on this side is the ground plug. which is what we'll hook this to. And then on this side is your hots. So we'll put the hot leg from the coming in on one and the hot leg going out on the other. And then these two whites in here, what we'll do is we'll wire nut these together, which we'll do that before I put the receptacle in here. So, cut this guy back. Sorry. Because in the light switch, you just want the neutrals to go through to the wherever you have on the other side of the light switch, so whether it be a light or, in my case, the furnace. And then what I do is take this guy, shove him back here in the box like that. Now, see what I've always done with light switches is you turn it upside down so the ground's up, and you hook it with that little hook I had on the ground. Then I always take my pliers and I pinch this loop shut. So that way it can't come off no matter what you do. It's actually wrapped around the ground lug. And then you tighten it up. And then you turn it this way. Now it's stood up. Ground's in behind it. And I've always, you have to bend it up like that so it goes in. Just like that. So, we'll do the same thing to these. Bend this up. Bend this guy up. Hook him on. Close him. Hook him on. Nope. Close him. Close him. You always want to make sure these are fairly tight, because most electrical hazards in the house, well, not most, some, are because these aren't tight enough. And if you have a loose hot and there's power going through it, it'll actually vibrate. So if it gets loose, it'll actually vibrate and actually cause a fire. Whether it be rubbing up against something or just in general. But look at this guy in here. Push him back, just like that. Now, I have a problem with this because these are too long. I gotta cut them short. So, cut him off. Maybe. I get my cutters in here. Alright, so we'll just have to pull him out. Take this. Cut him off. And there's always a little backing to these that go in here. It just keeps the screw from falling out. See. Take this guy. Put him back. Maybe if I get started. Okay, that one got started. You get the bottom started. There we go. Now, because this is an electrical box, like a metal box, sorry, I always, let's get it in here, always make sure my light switch is straight. And then what I do is, so this is supposed to be centered in here. The bolt's supposed to be centered in here because it centers your receptacle cover. But because this is metal, I've seen people that they wrap electrical tape around it so it doesn't touch the side. I just push it over. I mean, this is my garage, so I really not overly particular. And this light switch is only for my furnace, so it doesn't really matter. And then put on my dirty receptacle cover, or light cover, sorry. And simple as that. Alright, so what you don't see is coming out the end of it is another, let me back you up a little bit. Alright, so what you can see here is this is the old light switch that runs the furnace, and I'm putting a new one in for my new breaker box. So this wire comes out the bottom, and it'll go right in through here, through this grommet, down into the furnace, which I'll do later because I just want to get this done tonight. So what I'll do is, this is the end of it. Oh, these, see if I close this. This one here is for 12-2, and this is for 14-2. And if you actually see, there's a round on this end, a round on this end, and a little one in the middle. So what that's for is with this type of wire. You see how there's your black, white, and grounds in there? So what you do is you take these things. Oop, where's my camera at? So you put these where they belong in the crimpers. You squeeze it. Oop. Now whenever you do that, if you look real close, see the perforation? So what you do is you bend it a little bit. It pulls off. And then there's ground's always sleeved, so you take it, you pull it off, and then I'll put wire nuts on these just so they don't touch anything while I hook up the breaker box. Alright, so the next part of the video is I'm going to go show you the breaker box. Alright, so in this part I'm going to take this wire. This is the wire that I have run from over the furnace. And I need to feed it into my breaker box through that gray pipe you see at the top. So, first thing I need to do is take the breaker box apart. So I have a screw here. And then if you pick this up, take them off. Alright. So let me get you zoomed in here a little bit. So, in here, if you look over here, you'll see all these bare wire. So this lug right here that goes up this side is where all the grounds go. There's a lug going up this side. That's where all the neutrals go, which is all the white wires. This piece going up the center, which I'm not going to touch, but this piece right here is all the power in the system. So when you take a breaker, which you got one over here. So you take this little guy, and it's kind of hard to focus here. Alright, so there's a lug right here, and you put your wire in here. So then what happens is this piece right here hooks into the side, and then it flips down. Whenever it flips down, if you look in the end of this thing, you see the contactors in there. So what it does is it bridges this contact with this lug. Now inside of here, which This doesn't actually have a thing, but anyways, this is a 20 amp breaker, so it'll allow 20 amps through it. Anything above 20 amps, this will trip. So if it's on like that and you have a short, it doesn't shut off, it actually will go into the middle. So what it'll do is it'll be like that. And what that does is it disconnects the contactors in here, so it just breaks the connection, which keeps you from burning down or getting electrocuted or whatever. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed down that wire, and what I've always done is you always leave the sheathing on it, and then what I do is you always make sure this end, so there's wire sticking out of it. You always want to do that, because keep in mind now you're pushing. Let me back you up again. Oop. Tilt you back. Because the wire will be coming through up here. So it'll be coming down through, and I'm feeding it down through. I don't want it to come down through and touch anything in here that's hot, because then it'll short through this back to wherever it goes. Alright, so we get on my ladder here. Let me get it in here. Be able to see that. As you can see, wire's coming through right here. So go in here and I'll get a hold of it. And I'll keep feeding it from the top. I'll pull from the bottom. And I'll just keep it out from inside of the breaker box. Now, I always keep these extra long. And I'll show you why here in a second. As you can see, this is right here's the bottom of the box where my hand's at. So, I have this much wire hanging at the bottom. The reason you do that is, when you do this, I'll sheath it up here. So I'll do that right now while I'm sitting here talking. I reach up here, and I'll desheath it. I showed you this earlier, how to do this. So, because this is such a long, you have to feed it across the. There it goes. Alright. You gotta take your ground off. Now, I leave this long because, okay, this is coming in here. So what I'll do with my neutral is I'll run my neutral up like this. And I always leave slack. I'll come down below the thing and come back up and do something like that. And the reason I do that is because if I ever want to move this breaker, I don't have to try to find slack in the wire. I have the slack here. So if it's up here right now, and I want to move it down here for some odd clerical reason, I don't know, I have enough slack in here to unhook this and move it down to the bottom. So, that's what you do. You cut this, then you'll pull this back. And I'll feed this down in behind all this stuff. Like that. And I always do it so, it's kind of hard to see, but give me a second here. Like I said, you always make sure these are tight. It's kind of hard to see. Let me get some down here. If you look, if you look, there's you can actually see just a little bit on this side sticking out. Just a little bit on this side. I do that so I know that I have a good contact and I don't have to worry about if I didn't sheath it back far enough or whatnot. So do the same thing with the black. I mean with the ground, sorry. This is the ground. So I always go to the bottom, almost the bottom of the box. And then I'll come back up. Cut this off. You always want to watch because this is a ground wire, which means it's bare. There's no sheathing on it or nothing. So you definitely don't want it to touch anything in here that it shouldn't. So I always feed it behind the other wire. And I'll feed it up and put it into the slot. Just like that. Tighten it down, make sure this is tucked back so it can't touch any of the hots in the center. Now, I have a 28, like I said, 28 breaker. And if you look on the side of this breaker, I can't get it to focus. You gonna focus? Maybe. Here, zoom you in. Here we go, we'll zoom you back. If you look right here, it has the word strip. So what that is, it tells you how long to strip the wire back. So, what we'll do, I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to put the breaker right here. So I'll run this guy back up, we'll cut him off. Now, based off of this mark, I know I got to strip it back that far. You can actually verify it if you want. You can just, I got just a small hair too long. There you just cut the Okay. Now, same as before. You always want to put it in the way that you're going to put it in the breaker box. So, do this. Take this lug down. Okay, now take this, run it back up, back end will connect, and the front goes over, that's it. Make sure these wires are all tucked in where they belong. We'll put the cover back on so no one comes over. Oh wait, I forgot. You open the panel up. I put it on this side, so if you see there's knockouts in here. So what these do is they're only attached at the very top. So if you push the bottom, you go the whole way up, they just pop out. So we want to put this back up. And we'll put that one screw back in the bottom because we're still not done. We're still not done in here. I have a couple more runs to make later, but forgive me tonight. So now I have the new breaker in, which I can turn on because I have the ends wire nutted. But that's how you hook up a light switch and hook up a breaker in a breaker box. I think I am done for tonight. I'm just done. It's like 8 o'clock at night, but I will be in here tomorrow. I'll get the furnace hooked up, which I'll record that, show you guys how to do that. And I got 2, 4, 5 receptacles to hook up over on the wall, which I'll show you guys how to hook up a receptacle. Now, I'm going to say this again. I am not an electrician. Do not do what I do unless you have guidance or you know something about electricity. Because If you do this wrong, this will kill you. This is a 100 amp service. So, 100 amps will kill you. I actually think, like, I could be wrong, but I think it's like 4 amps, I think. I forget what will actually stop your heart. But, you don't want to get hit by this. So, always do your this last. Always hook up your breakers last. Because you don't want to hook this up and then the breaker be bad, or you accidentally leave it on, and then you go over to hook up a receptacle or a light switch or something else, and you latch a hold of the hot, or you hit the hot and the ground together with your pliers or screwdriver or whatnot. You just don't want to do it. Do it last. So if you wire up everything and then you get it to the box and you hook it up, make sure the breaker's off, put it in. If you turn it on and it trips, you need to go the whole way back through your whole mess and figure out what you did wrong. It's kind of hard. I mean, it's not really hard to mess this up. You just have to be careful with, make sure you don't get any bare wires, make sure you don't hook the neutral up to where the hot should be, or the hot to the neutral, or the ground to the neutral, or mix your wires up. I mean, it's black's hot, white's neutral, bare's ground. That's standard like house electricity, like I said, receptacles and switches and whatnot. You get a little more complicated when you get like 4 wires, which is usually throws a red one in there, which will give you, like, you can do 220 that way. You can do 2-way switches or 3-way switches. Sorry, like if you got a light switch to the bottom stuff. It doesn't matter. I'm done for the night. See you guys tomorrow.